Hey peeps, today we're going to be going over loops. We can do it in vscripts. These are loops that we can do in pretty much every single language for the most part, but we'll go ahead and go over them just a little bit here for people who are not familiar with them. So I'm going to make a little variable here called boop. We'll just set this to 0 here. Structure of the while loop, I like to set up the structure before I start writing into it so I don't accidentally forget a bracket. We're going to do let's see, let's put boop is smaller than 5. Now, how does this work here? Well, it's pretty much the same as the if conditional statement that we just went over. So, if I have this, then that means we check to see if boop is smaller than 5. If boop is smaller than 5, we'll run this. The only difference is that this can be thought of as a repeating if conditional statement. So, the while loop will be the same as the if, except for we'll go in to our code if its condition is met, and then we'll go back around and we'll check to see if the condition is met. And we'll keep going in a loop infinitely until the condition is not met. So if I do this, plus equal to 1, and whoops, print line, boop. We're going to go ahead and run this code. Okay, you can see boop, 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 boop. Okay, we got 5 boops. That's good. So this is, excuse me, this is a really useful loop. I really like to use this a lot, but it is, like I said, possible to do infinite loops. So for instance, if I forgot to put this in, which you do occasionally do, that would mean that we'd go into this iteration here, and boop would be set to 0. So is 0 smaller than 5? True. We'd go into here, we'd print boop, and then we'd come back around here and go back up here and check again. And you can see that boop is never changed at all inside of this area. So we would just keep going here and here and here and here infinitely. So it's very important that you do not forget your incrementation here, or your your decrements and shit, all that stuff. So excuse me. So very useful, but you just have to make sure that you don't screw up by accidentally putting yourself into an infinite loop. I'm going to go ahead and use these. These are used to comment out code here. So this will be essentially seen as text, not like a string. This is like actually not used at all in the program. So you close it off by this, very important, because this will just keep going until it reaches this here. So you can do that way. Or if it's like a single line and you just want to put a comment to tell us what it does, you can put hi, hello, how are you? And these two forward-facing slashes together like this also indicate a comment. So that is very useful for you. So really quickly, we're just going to show the do while loop here. Essentially the same thing, only it's kind of backwards-ish. So what this does is it will do this, and then it will check the condition. So if I put this here, and we'll just go ahead and do this here. Boop. Excuse me. This will run the same exact code as before. And you might be asking, why would you need to do that? There's certain conditions where you will want to run what's inside the the area where we have our little loop code before you check the condition. I don't have an example at the moment I could make one, but it would be a little bit complex, and I don't want to do anything too complex to confuse people. We're just trying to go over the basics right now, so we're going to go ahead and leave that as it is. Next here, I don't really like this loop very much, but a lot of people do, and it is important to know. So we're going to go ahead and use it here. Let's just use boop because we've been using boop. I'm going to go ahead and do this structure really quickly here, the same as it would have looked in the while loop. And it can be a bit confusing to understand when you first see this, but it's really simple. Basically, you can think of these as three different statements that we put in. This is a statement that we're using to initialize. So here we basically create our little variable boop, and we set it to 0. And this one is our conditional statement, is we keep looping through this code here until this condition is not met. And this is our stepping. So every time that we go out, we want to either increment this or de-increment it. So we'll go ahead and excuse me. Go ahead and put let's see, we'll just put a boop in here as well. Whoops. Oh my, I can't type. My fingers are locking up. Go ahead and save this. The index boop does not exist. Whoops. I messed up. I forgot to put the maybe you're supposed to put local in here. I haven't used this in a while. Hold on here. I'm making mistakes. There we go. Okay, so in other languages you're supposed to like cast this, but I was under the impression that it automatically did that because I didn't normally use it that way. Yeah, well, you learn something new every day. Okay, so make sure that you do a local boop, or if you're not doing that, you could put it out here as well, I suppose. You'd have to be careful not to mess up your variables and stuff if you're using multiple things for some other stuff, though. But anyway, simple to do. You can also do infinite loops here if you're not careful, but for the most part, people tend to use this one. I don't really like it too much. I don't know. Like I've been programming since I've been like 8 or 9, and like I always used the while loop for everything that I did. And if I didn't understand how it could work with the while loop, I made it work with the while loop. But the for loop iteration is very important to understand as well. So recommend that you learn all of these. The next one here, this is for each. Now for each is very useful as well. For each basically means that we are going to go and get every single index inside of this array, or whatever it is. So sometimes it's not an array, sometimes it's a table. We're going to be going over tables soon here. So what we're going to do here, let's go ahead and make local cookies. Oops, and remember we did arrays earlier. So we're going to go ahead and make, let's see, cake and ice cream. I'll do it like that. Okay, so we have cake and ice cream. So we have index 0 and index 1 for this array. And we can go ahead and do our for each. Now, the way this works, the way this works is the one on the left here, this is going to be the variable that's going to be used inside of here. and the one on the right is going to be the variable outside that we're going to be looking inside of. So we're going to put for each food in cookies. And we're going to go ahead and do a print line, and we'll go ahead and output food. And at the same time, obviously this isn't needed, but I'm just going to show it alongside as well, that we can also do another print line here, and I can do cookies, whoops, cookies and index. Oops, very important to not forget your parentheses. All right, so what's this going to do? If I program this properly, this should print out cake, cake, and then ice cream, ice cream. All right, we'll go ahead and see if I did this right or if I messed up again. All right, cake, cake, ice cream, ice cream. Okay, so you can see in our code here, I've essentially created an index starting at 0, and then we go into here, we get the for each. So instead of cookies, the first one would be this one. So we go ahead and print cake, and then on the next one here, cookies, which is an array, we go ahead and get the index at location 0, which is cake, and then we print that. So the first one is cake, cake. We are going to increment our index, so now index is equal to 1. We come back around here. This does a check to see if there's anything else in here. There is, so now we're on index 1 here, and it checks that and prints this in here, food. Food is now going to be equal to ice cream. Okay, and we go down to here, and cookies, which is our array, is now looking in index 1. So this is index 1. So now we're going to be printing ice cream, ice cream. And it increments the index anymore. Excuse me, it increments the index again, but completely unnecessary because we're never going to go back in here. But yeah, that's essentially here. I will go ahead and take this out just so I don't confuse people. I'll go ahead and run this again, just so people can see it with just the for each, so you don't think that that was required to make this work. The index does not exist. I broke it again. Unus. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, that's what I did. I forgot to take that out. I'm making all kinds of mistakes today. You're going to be doing that a lot in programs, so you'll have to get used to it. Okay, so cake and ice cream. All right, so as you can see, we just go into here. We get the first index, and it is cake. Print cake, go back around, get our next index, which is ice cream, and now food is equal to ice cream, print ice cream. So just cake, ice cream. Easy. All right, peeps. I think that's all we're going to go over in this, because we're going to try and keep these short as we can. I don't know what we're doing next, because I haven't really made a structure of this. But we'll try and possibly get to tables next. We'll see. But anyway, peeps, is out.